Okay. So over to you, sister. Mr. Chinyere, we can start now. Hello, is Sister Chinyere there?
Good afternoon, everyone present in this webinar. I'm Sister Chinyere Ugo Iwunze, Medical Missionaries of Mary Congregation. I'm a registered nurse midwife and
we can't hear you.
I'm a registered
from the beginning.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone present in this webinar and those that are yet to join us or to read and learn from the inputs that our great speaker is going to present today. I'm Sister Chinyere Ugo Iwunze, Medical Missionaries of Mary Congregation.
Your video is not showing, sister. Okay, good.
Good afternoon, everyone present in this webinar. We are all welcome to this presentation, going to be presented by a great lady we may have known or heard of in one way or the other. So I am Sister Chinyere Ugo Iwunze, Medical Missionaries of Mary Congregation. I'm a registered nurse midwife, a fertility care practitioner, creating model fertility care system. Today, I am privileged to be part of this webinar today. And I would like to tell us about Fertility Care Centers of America. It is a non-profit corporation founded by the developer of creating model fertility care system, Dr. Thomas W. Hedges, MD, in 1999. One might wonder, what is this creating model fertility care system? Actually, it's a truly unique approach to the natural regulation of human fertility, the first of its kind that has enabled a woman to monitor and maintain her gynecologic and reproductive health. A strong professional and academic infrastructure for the creating model system was an early recognized need in our society. The focus of this infrastructure will become the development of a formally written core curriculum for the professional education of fertility care practitioner and instructor. So to accomplish the above, the American Academy of Fertility Care Professionals was established to provide continuing education, accreditation, certification, and service program approval, along with professional and collegial support. The Popol the Sixth Institute for Study of Human Reproduction was established to advance the professional, educational, and research objectives of the creating model system and then Fertility Care Centers of America. What is the purpose? It will interest you to know that it is to unite and promote creating model system educational services through local fertility care centers. Fertility Care Center of America manages a network of over 300 nationally and internationally affiliated fertility care centers that provide instruction in creating model system. To ensure the quality control and standardization of all creating model system services provided, each fertility care practitioner affiliated with this Fertility Care Center of America must have a responsible creating model practitioner who is formally trained and certified encrypted model system. Now, who is going to give us this wonderful presentation today? It's nobody than Ms. Hilda Ann Ayodele Shonobi, who is a certified fertility care practitioner, a certified fertility care educator at American Academy of Fertility Care Professional. Hilda Ann Ayodele Shonobi, a graduate of Federal University of Technology, Akure, with Bachelor of Technical Industrial Chemistry, a certified fertility care practitioner and certified fertility care educator. She is the practitioner in chair of St. Anne's Fertility Care Services, director of St. Anne's St. Anne's New Hope Foundation. For over 15 years, she has been working as a fertility care practitioner in Nigeria. She is the first certified fertility care practitioner and the first certified fertility care educator, both in Nigeria and Africa. Ayodele Shonobi has been licensed by Pope Paul VI Institute in United States of America to fully train fertility care practitioners and provide first parts of educational program for NAPRO technology medical consultants. She has attended both international scientific conferences in Florida and Notre Dame, workshops in Connecticut and St. Louis, all in the United States of America, seminars in Poland and national scientific conferences in Nigeria to keep herself up to date with the recent advances in her field of specialization. Thank you so much. Just stay tuned and enjoy this program. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sister. Thank you for the brief introduction.
Thank you.
Okay. Just like I said, we are streaming this live on YouTube so that there can be a replay for those yet to log in and for those who might want to listen to it later on. So let's go into the business of the day. You are all welcome. As you are joining us, you can introduce yourself and your location, where you are joining us from. Thank you. And questions will be entertained at the end of the presentation. Okay, so welcome on board again.
Thank you.
Sister, I just giving us a brief introduction of what creating model is. So what we are going to do today is just an introduction into creating model system. So it's a free section. After this section, if you now decide to join us, that is when you make a commitment. So stay tuned as we go on with the presentation of the introductory section. It's a service program for making natural procreative choices and then maintaining and evaluating a woman's gynecological and procreative health. When we are talking about monitoring, maintaining and evaluating, it means that on your own, you will be able to monitor your cycle as a family, as a lady. Then the husband also will be able to monitor the cycle of the wife. And you will also be able to maintain and evaluate. And then when we are referring to procreative, we are talking about achieving, avoiding, and spacing. Then when we are talking about gynecological health, we are referring to if they are infertility challenge, maybe the woman is having fibroid, the man is having a low sperm count, etc. So it takes care of that. The system is based on solid scientific and educational research, just like she has introduced the founder of the program in the person of Professor Dr. Thomas W. Iljas. He is a gynecologist, and he started this research from the Quentin University. So it's not something that he just brought to us. It has gone through so many research. And the observation and tracking of various biological markers. When you join us, there are observations that will teach you how to identify, and then you will be able to track them on your own. It's easy to learn and also easy to interpret. Testimonies from our user prove that. It helps to appreciate your fertility and to be able to take care of your fertility on your own naturally. Then when we talk about the NAPRO technology part of it, NAPRO technology means natural procreative technology. So it's a new women ed science. It's not taught in the university. So it's even if you're a medical consultant, you still need to go for this training. So it's an advanced program. It works cooperatively with the natural cycle. So if we have any medical personnel here and you wish to undergo this training, you can please contact me for details on how to. The fertility care aspect of it, which is mainly the Quentin model system, helps you or teaches you how to achieve pregnancy on your own naturally, how to avoid pregnancy on your own naturally, how to time conception, space childbirth, avoid for some time and then achieve for some time. So that's timing conception. You can do that also on your own naturally. And also to track the procreative cycle. Yeah, your cycle, your monthly cycle, you will be able to what? To naturally track it. SPICE instruction, the beauty of this program is that it's increased marital bonding. Yeah, people that have used it, use it with their couples. If you are not married, yes, you are welcome as a single person, but once you are married, you are to use it with your spouses. So the beauty of it is that it involves you, both of you praying together, and then physical, that both of you, you have to touch each other. You cannot say that you are married and you are not having physical contact. And then you have to make use of your intellect. It is creative, and it is, you feel your emotions as well. So that's the SPICE instruction. This SPICE instruction is given to our clients, our patients, once they register with us. It also has a way of creating marital bonding. Then the NAPO technology part of it, which is natural procreative technology, helps to deal with infertility if such couples are struggling with infertility. Or maybe there has been issues of miscarriages. As a matter of fact, when you enroll with us from your chat, even if you have not had any miscarriage before, we can note it from the chat. And then we advise on what to do before such couple engage in getting pregnant. Also, it helps to maintain pregnancy. We can testify that all pregnancy are not the same. So some pregnancies needs to be maintained. And then it helps with irregular cycles. Some women will come and say, oh, my cycle has been regular. I'm always 28-day cycle. Well, sometimes when we look at it, we'll see that it is not a regular cycle. Your cycle being 28 days does not make it regular. As we go on, you will see that there are some patterns in the cycle that if they are not there, your cycle is not regular. Hormone problems. As a man, as a woman, we have so many hormones in our body, but there are particular hormones responsible for reproduction. So if those hormones are lacking behind or they are not adequate enough, there's bound to be infertility issue. Premenstrual syndrome, these are symptoms that a woman sees before her menses. We call them premenstrual syndrome. They are legitimate conditions. They only become a problem when the woman is not, it's becoming unbearable for the woman, that the woman cannot take it. Yeah. Then we have ovarian cysts. We've had people who are pregnant after some treatment. Ovarian cysts also really cannot be fully eradicated, but it can be maintained and it can be managed, and then there will be successful pregnancy. Unusual bleeding. Some women will be like, okay, I've always been having my normal menses for 5 days, for 6 days, for 3 days, for 8 days. But sometimes when we look at it, we find some unusual bleeding inside it. And also the effect of stress. Stress has a way of affecting a woman's fertility. And stress to every human being is different. What is stress to me might not be stress to you. There are psychological stress, there are emotional stress, there are physical stress. So you need to identify all those stress so that it doesn't affect your fertility. Even as a man, there are some work you do that is causing stress and causing such a man to have a low sperm count. The program is tailor-made for you, and it's professional and customized for you. Customized for you wherever you find yourself, whether you have a regular cycle or irregular cycle. So it's not just about for somebody who wants to achieve alone or want to space. Everybody, as a woman, as a man, as a couple, as a young lady, as long as you have started your menstruation or you have reached the age of reproductive age, then definitely you fall into this category. Also, as a man, once you have reached the age of being able to father a child, you also fall into this category. So whether you have irregular cycle, an ovulatory state is someone that's not been ovulating for the past 1 year. Yeah, maybe for one reason or the other, it might be a medical condition or the person is about to enter menopause. So we call it an ovulatory state. Breastfeeding, a woman that is breastfeeding a child that just delivered, that just put to bed. Premenopause. Menopause is from 40 years and above. So once a woman reaches the age of 40, does not mean that she has entered menopause. So as a matter of fact, if you enter menopause by age 40, you need to do some medical checkup, because your being 40, it's called premenopause. That is, in the next 15 years, plus or minus, you probably enter into menopause. So getting scared at 40 that you have entered menopause, it's not medically safe. Post-pill, for a woman that has been using pills before. Now, it's not only those that wants to avoid that use pills. For some medical conditions also, pills are recommended. So in this situation, if you are using pills before and you come to us, we give you a better advice, because the pills definitely has a side effect to the body. And for any situation for your entire procreative life, so if there's any that I have not mentioned here, once you contact us, we will be able to advise you accordingly. Advantages is that it's medically safe and it has proven to be reliable. It's a shared system. If I may dwell on the medically safe. Now we say is a natural method. Is a natural science, not a natural urban method. Because when you talk about natural, people will start thinking that you use herb. No, it's still science. We do tests, just like IVF people does, just like IUI people does. We do all tests. We do hormone tests. We do surgeries. We do everything that has to do with science. But the only thing that makes us natural, or why we call it natural, is because we do it according to your body system. And that is why we say it is what? Customized to you. Because by the time you start chatting, we work on you based on what we see on your chart, based on your cycle, based on your monthly cycle, based on your observation, based on your tracking method. So that is why it's just like when you take your clothes to the tailor to sew, they measure you before cutting it to your size. So that is the way the program is. So it's medically safe. We are not going to bombard you with unnecessary medication if your body doesn't need it. It's a shared system, just like I explained earlier, that you use it with your spouse if you are married. If you are not married as a single person, you are also welcome and you will be handled as a single person. So it's proven to be reliable. Yeah, we have testimonies from users who have used it. Comparatively inexpensive, yes. For some of us, if you take notes, you will see that when you're talking about other methods, for example, when you're talking about IVF, they might say, okay, go and bring 1.5 million, go and bring $3,000, $10,000 before it can be done. Yeah, in creating modern approach technology, we don't do that. We start you from the scratch. So sometimes you just find out that so people will just register for introductory sections, and then they make use of the instructions, take their supplements, and before you know it, they are pregnant. So they don't need to go for surgery. They don't need to go for hormone profile. They don't need to go for scan. In a situation whereby that first stage is not attained, then you go to the next level whereby you ask them to do hormone profile, to do scan, to check their tubes, to check the man semen, and all sorts. So we take you as you are. If you don't need the necessary test, we are not going to ask you to do it. So that is why it is comparatively inexpensive. It's natural and cooperative. For so many medications out there, especially those that are using estrogen, I don't want to say it's a bad news, but not a good news, so to say. And you need to check some of those medications because not all of them are natural. So you can equally ask your pharmacist for those. I wouldn't want to dwell much on that. So we make sure that whatever medication we are giving you, they are organic. That is, they are natural. They are natural medications. They are natural supplements. We work with natural, even the injections, we work with natural things. It's standardized. Now I'm talking from Lagos, Nigeria, Lekki to be precise. Sister is talking from Ajegunle. I have another of my colleague here. She's also in Lekki. And then all of you that are participants, I know some of you are not from Nigeria. You're outside Nigeria. So the program is from US, but it's a global program. It covers everybody. So whether you find yourself in Lagos, Nigeria, or you find yourself in Ghana, Zimbabwe, Malawi, all African countries, or you find yourself in Europe, we are there. And if you find any NAPRO consultant or operating model practitioner, it is still the same thing that we do. That is, we are controlled, we have quality control, and then we are standardized. And we follow a research foundation, and the research is still ongoing. So it's not stopping, it's still ongoing. Now, I haven't introduced you to the program. Let's go to the next thing to know about ourselves. Now, we want to talk about ourselves. And we do this, we start this by doing a basic review of anatomy and physiology. Men are always fertile at every time T. I'm sure some people will frown at that and say, what do you mean? Men are fertile. Yes, that's the way God made them. God made men or man to be fertile at every time T. Once a man reaches the age, I think from 9 years old, it becomes fertile until averagely when you're looking about 90 plus. Now, a man can now become infertile if he has a fertility issue or fertility challenge. Yeah. So that's the natural way that God made a man. So sometimes a man will have a prostate problem and that can cause infertility problem. Sometimes men too, they have blocked tubes where the sperm comes from. So that also can cause infertility problem. But nevertheless, if all those are not present, a man is expected to be fertile. That's why you see that a man can impregnate 2 or 3 ladies at a time, as long as they are all fertile. So it's not same for women. We'll get to the women's section. So that's for the men. This is a microscopic view of the semen. It consists of the head of the sperm, and then the tail. You can see that they have different ways of moving. Yeah. So that's a microscopic view of a male sperm. This is the male anatomy. The male organ is outside the body, and it's the main organ where the semen is produced is in the scrotum, and it's covered with a thick layer. Yeah, it's for a reason, because temperature has a way of affecting a man's sperm. That's why it's always advisable that a man should not be putting hot food or laptop or something that can heat up the organ on their laps. Okay, so the sperm is produced inside the testicles and is transported through what we call the vas deferens. That vas deferens is the tube. That's the one I was saying that if it's blocked, there will be challenge for infertility for the man. So it's transported through the vas deferens. It goes to the prostate gland and comes out through the urethra or through the penis. At the same time, when a man drinks water, the water goes to the bladder, and then from the bladder pass through the same prostate gland and comes out through the same channel. So in essence, if a man is urinating well and he doesn't have a problem urinating, it does not have a problem also ejaculating or releasing sperm. So when there's a problem, then all those channels needs to be checked on. Unlike men, women are at most times infertile, not because we have chosen to. Again, that's the way God made it. He made women to have period of fertility and period of infertility within a cycle. That is why women, we usually have a cycle running every month. Yeah, some women have a cycle running maybe every 2 months or more. Yeah, but we'll get to see why that is. So this is the female organ. The female organ is embedded in the body compared to the male organ that is outside the body. We have the woman has 2 tubes, that's 2 fallopian tubes. And then she also has 2 ovaries. We'll still see a larger view of it. And then she has the wall of the womb, which is called the uterus, and then the vagina. In between the womb and the vagina is the cervix. Every month, a woman experiences a discharge, which we call ovulation. I'm here to shock you that that is not ovulation. That is cervical mucus. And the cervical mucus is coming from the cervical crypt, which is between the vagina and the uterus. Okay. So now this is a microscopic view of the female organ. Yeah. So we have the uterus, which is the womb, is here. We have the ovaries. There are 2 of them on each side. And then we have the fallopian tube. This is the fallopian tube. The fallopian tube is the joining between the wall of the uterus to the ovary where the egg is produced. So they are all connected. The fallopian tube also has a finger. It has fingers. The finger is what helps it to pick the egg that is being released from the ovary at every time that a woman ovulates. So that's a microscopic view of what the finger looks like. Ovulation occurs on only 1 day in each cycle. So that's another shock to us. We don't ovulate for 5 days. We don't ovulate for 8 days. No matter how many days you see a discharge in your cycle, it is not the days of your ovulation. It's the days of your fertility. It's the days that you know that there is a possible that you can get pregnant if intercourse occurs. Ovulation occurs just 1 day in a cycle. So sometimes I used to tell my client, my patient that, oh, ovulation is like JAMB. If you are in Africa, you know what JAMB is. JAMB is like writing exam to enter university, and it's done once in a year. So if you do it this year, you don't pass, you have to wait for another year. Same thing for ovulation. This is how we know that ovulation has occurred. From the follicle, that's from the ovary, we have the follicle where the egg is being developed from. For some of you that have done scan before, they will ask you what's the size after you might have done the scan, or when you show the result to the doctor. That's what the doctor looks for the size of the follicle. It must at least reach 2.0 centimeter for it to be mature. After the maturity, there will be a burst. A burst, just like there's a breakthrough. The egg comes out of the shell, or you can just view it as the egg of an hen. You know, it has the shell, it has the abdomen, and then it has the yolk. So the same thing goes for this. So there's a burst, there's a break. The egg is now being released from that follicle. And once it's released, it forms what we call corpus luteum. So at that time, you can see these are sperm. If there was intercourse exactly at that time, the sperm will make their way to where the egg is so that they can fertilize it. So this egg that we are referring to as ovulation lives 12 to 24 hours if it is not fertilized. So once the egg is released from a woman now, if there's no intercourse within that time, from 12 to 24 hours after then, the egg dies off. So are we now saying that a woman is only fertile for 12 to 24 hours? No. What determines your fertility is the number of days that you see that mucus. So the mucus makes the sperm to survive, to be alive for like 3 to 5 days. So that's how powerful the mucus is. So that immediately the egg is released, and then you now have a fertilization. That's why sometimes when you go for scan and then it has reached like 2 cm, your doctor will say, oh, you must make sure that you meet with your husband today. So that's the mystery behind that. But specifically, it's on rare occasion that you see ovulation happening immediately. It happens within 12 to 24 hours of the scan. Now let's look at the phases of menstrual cycle. So this is what determines whether your cycle is regular or irregular. If these parameters are not in your cycle, then you might probably be checking why it is not so. There are phases of menstrual cycle. We have the pre-ovulatory phase and we have the post-ovulatory phase. No matter how long your cycle is, no matter how short your cycle is, the cycle must have the pre-ovulatory and then the post-ovulatory. Pre-ovulatory is before ovulation. Post-ovulatory is after ovulation. Pre-ovulatory phase is very, very variable in length, while the post-ovulatory phase is stable in length. So what determines whether your cycle is going to be short, is going to be regular, is going to be long, is your pre-ovulatory phase. If your pre-ovulatory phase is short, your cycle will be short. If it is normal, like every other person that has 14 days of cycle, your cycle will be regular. If it is long, like for some people that have 6 months of cycle before menstruation, then your cycle will be what? Will be long. So what determines your cycle's length is your pre-ovulatory phase. That's the phase between your menses and the time you ovulate. Once ovulation has occurred, you are expected to see your menses in the next 9 to 17 days, which is an average of 13 plus or minus 4. So it varies from one woman to the other. So once ovulation has occurred, averagely, you should see your menses in the next 9 to 17 days. There are 2 hormones responsible for this. We have the estrogen and then the progesterone. The estrogen is the one that stimulates the cervical plate to produce the mucus that you see as a woman every cycle. So the mucus comes in different forms, in different grades, depending on the level of estrogen in you. So by the way, we have good estrogen and we have bad estrogen. Just like you have good cholesterol and you have bad cholesterol. If you have bad estrogen, that's when you begin, your fibroid begins to grow. So in that case, you need to be eating food, natural food, that will not make your estrogen, your bad estrogen to increase. You don't eat canned food. You don't eat processed food. You do exercise and you take supplements that are natural. So if your bad estrogen is being fed more, there's every tendency that you begin to have infertility challenge, which is part of it is a cyst, part of it is fibroid, and the rest. Now, the estrogen is responsible for the mucus buildup, and the mucus begin to build up. You see it in different forms, like pap, like hand cream, but like lotion, until it goes to something like egg white. So the day you see the egg white and you don't see it again, you can see the egg white for like 3, 4, 5 days. It doesn't matter. But the last day we should see it and you don't see it anymore is a sign that your ovulation is about to occur. So the ovulation window is between that last day before your estrogen finally goes to the midway. Now, the estrogen does not totally finish in the cycle. It still has other things to do after ovulation, but it's been what? Overpowered by progesterone. Because once ovulation occurs, the progesterone level begins to increase. Now, the progesterone makes a woman to be dry, but at the same time, secrete fluid on the wall of the uterus, that is building the womb of a woman, so that if conception takes place by virtue of ovulation that occur here, the womb will be what? Be readily made, will be made ready for the baby to perch on. So sometimes some women have early miscarriage due to this, if the progesterone level is not good enough. So the 2 hormones have what they do or what they perform for a successful conception. This is what happens when the egg is developing. At the same time, this is what happens when the wall of the uterus is building. When the egg is being picked in the beginning of the month, developing in what we call a follicle. It gets to a mature stage, which we know that ovulation has occurred. The same thing is happening by the wall of the uterus. When the egg is picked, the wall starts building itself, preparing itself in case conception takes place, and then the progesterone secretes fluid on the wall. If no conception takes place, the wall comes down again. But if conception takes place, this estrogen keeps on providing for the wall or for the baby before another hormone takes on. Sperm without mucus die within hours. Sperm with good mucus may live 3 to 5 days. So procreation or conception is not just about a sperm, a man and a woman having intercourse. It's about a man, a woman having intercourse when the woman is fertile. And how do you know when you are fertile? When you are seeing a good mucus. So this is what a chart looks like when you come to us and you start charting your cycle. This is an example of a chart. We have the menses, we have the dry days, we have the mucus discharge, and then we have other dry days. When you register with us, you learn more of this. Just like I said from the beginning, that it's based on research. So when a woman chart a cycle during the research, and then the blood samples were taken for both estrogen and progesterone, and then they discover the highest day that the woman is seeing a peak type mucus, you discover that the woman is fertile within that window. This is the window of fertility. So the woman is fertile, and then there's what? Penetration of sperm around that time. But during the outside the windows, which is between menses to this day 13, and from day 23 to day 29, a woman is infertile. So, which is also an advantage for those that are trying to avoid pregnancy. So you cannot you can't overuse the time of your infertility. But those that are trying to avoid, if you are actually observing your cycle and you are charting well, you will see that the natural method pays off. Because for you to have intercourse, it means that you have, let's take for instance, this example of 29 days. So this woman is only fertile for one, that's starting from day 14. Okay, starting from day 14, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the last day she saw the mucus pattern. So she gave a window of 3 days after, because fertility is still continuing. So we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you minus 9 from 29 days, that's 20 days. So you have 20 days of infertility that you can have intercourse and not get pregnant. All you just need is what? To make a good observation of your cycle. And for those that want to achieve, you concentrate on those 9 days. Yeah. Okay. So fertility depends, that's summary, on good sperm, good eggs, and what? And good mucus. Okay, so let's just pay attention to this. Just a short video.
The sperm contain the genetic material of the father, and when they meet the ovum, they surround it. The ovum contains the genetic material of the mother. The natural course for those sperm and ova that do not participate in the action of conception is one of degeneration. But when the sperm joins the egg at the moment of conception, and the genetic material of the one joins the other, then a new life form comes into being. The science of human genetics proves without doubt that this is the beginning of an individual's human life. The new human being, first one cell in size, then many cells, is genetically different from both its mother and its father. In fact, it is genetically unique in the universe of human beings.
Okay, the audio is not so loud enough, but what that is trying to tell us is that Conception happens within a twinkle of an eye. Once the egg is released and the sperm find their way to where the egg is, there are millions of them around the egg. At the end of the day, one will fertilize it. So you can imagine when thousands of people have to rush for a common thing, and then at the end of the day, one must surely get it. So it is not an issue of we have intercourse, we are not. As long as there is good egg, there is good sperm. They always look for themselves. They have affinity for themselves, and then conception will take place. So if conception does not take place, it means that something is wrong somewhere that you need to check. So that's the spark of life. So at the time, that's just the illustration of the video that we'll finish watching now. So at the time that the sperm finally penetrates into the egg, immediately is what we call a spark of life. A life has begun. Somebody will miss a period for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then they'll say, oh, it's just blood. It's not blood. Life has begun immediately. Just like Jesus said, oh, something has left my body when the woman of the issue of blood touched him. So a life has been produced. So it's not a matter of 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 10 weeks, no, immediately. A life has been produced. So you can imagine after 10 weeks and 6 days, going for a scan, the baby already has what? Everything is almost formed. The head is there, the leg, the hand. So it's almost formed. So having an abortion in 1 week, in 1 month, in 2 months or 4 weeks, and saying that it's blood is not blood. There is a life there already. In a situation whereby no conception takes place, there is no spark of life, and then by the time the egg reaches the wall of the womb that has already been built by progesterone, there will be what we call sludging of the lining of the tissue. So the menses begins again. So you need to know that pregnancy can result from any genital contact on days of fertility, even without penetration or ejaculation. There's a fluid that comes out of a man. They call it pre-ejaculatory fluid. That fluid is 75% rich in spermatozoa, so it can make a woman to be pregnant. That's why sometimes you find out that the man will say, "Oh, I did not penetrate," or there was a foreplay, and then there was no actual intercourse. Once that's what we call pre-ejaculatory fluid makes a contact with the cervical mucus of the woman, either by the hand, maybe the woman hand touches the man's organ or whatever, or by actual playing with the woman's organ, pregnancy can result. So in avoiding pregnancy, for those who want to avoid, it is advisable you keep away from days that are fertile. And for those that want to achieve, it's advisable to keep to the days that are fertile. So that's probably how to know about ourselves. So let's now go into a little bit of details of what you are expected to get when you register with us. When you start charting your cycle with us, there are numerous of things that can be discovered from your chart. For example, the first one here, you can see it is tagged infertility. The second one, miscarriage. The third one, low progesterone. And the fourth one, abnormal bleeding. This abnormal bleeding is straight and forward. You can see that the menses lasted for about 13 days, which it is not normal. And also there was some spotting afterwards. The low progesterone, that's not straightforward. You might not be able to understand that, but the simple analogy is that before the woman actually starts menstruation, she will start spotting. So these are kind of women that will say, oh, my menses was brown, it was not flowing heavily. So that's low progesterone. Miscarriage, I told you earlier on when we are checking the phases of the menstrual cycle, so that a woman after ovulation should see her menses about 9 days after, 9 to 17 days. If you count this from the period whereby ovulation can occur, you will see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not up to 9 days. So if such a woman gets pregnant, she's going to have a miscarriage. And most of the time, it's an early miscarriage. So this woman probably will say she belongs to a category of short cycle. No, she's not short cycle. And for the fact that it's short, doesn't mean that it happens to only people that have short cycle. Even people that have long cycle, you might have a long cycle and your cycle is about 28 days and you ovulated on day 25. So you are expecting your post-ovulatory phase to be 9 plus 25, which is about 34 days. So your cycle being 28 is not regular. Infertility, this can also be straightforward to you because you can see that the woman has limited mucus. And in some cases, some women don't even have mucus at all. So days of fertility and infertility depends on when a woman has mucus. Probably sometimes the woman can see mucus during her menstrual flow or outside her menstrual flow plus the count of that 3 days. And days of infertility are days following, that's the dry days following after menses, and then dry days following after the mucus development. So when you enroll with us, these are all the things that you will know. We have 8 sections, 8 classes for those training. So the creating model system may be used in 2 ways: to achieve or to avoid pregnancy. When the research was going on, the couple that enrolled were 1,876 couples, and they used it for 17,130 months. These are the centers that were used in USA: Omaha, which is the origin, St. Louis, Wichita, Houston, and Milwaukee. The method was effective in 99.5%. And then the use effective, those that used it and used it well, were 96.8%, and they all got their results. In the first cycle, for those that want to achieve pregnancy, about 76% of them achieve. So by 3rd cycle, 90%. By 6th cycle, about 98%. Then for those that want to avoid and they have normal fertility, that their fertility are good, and they want to avoid pregnancy and they successfully avoided, then later on change their mind to achieve pregnancy within that same year, about 21% of them, and they achieve pregnancy. The remaining 2% of these is now categorized under infertility. You can see what we have here is normal fertility. So those that are now categorized under infertility, that's 2% of 1,876 couples. When they continue to use the method, 20 to 40% of them achieve pregnancy, and then up to 80% achieve pregnancy by the time they now have a medical treatment, up to 12 months of use, over a period of 8 to 12 months of use. They are not taking chances with the creating model. You will know when you are fertile on any given day. It involves your time, your energy, and your patience, and it's an investment in the future, because on your own, you'll be able to know your fertility. On your own, you'll be able to know your gynecological problem, and then you'll be able to know the needed medical attention that you require. Follow-up sections, just like I said, we have 8 sections with you when you register with us. Is very important so that you can gain confidence in the system, and so that the system can be what? Tailor-made for you and for your situation. Success depends on accurate observation, accurate charting, following instructions, mutual motivation, that if you are married, you are affiliated with your spouse, and then loving cooperation for a lifetime of fulfilling dreams and procreative health. The woman observes, the man supports, and then the couple uses it. Thank you for your attention. So I think we can entertain questions now. If you have any question, maybe you want to ask a question, or you want to raise your hand, or you want to type out the question. There is an option for Q&A to type in your question, or you can raise up your hand so that we know you have a question, so that we can answer your question. Okay, any question from the floor? Okay, waiting for your question.
Come and join the Fertility Care family.
Fertility Care family.
La familia Fertility Care.
The Fertility Care family.
Fertility Care family.
La familia de Fertility Care.
Fertility Care family.
Fertility Care family.
The Fertility Care family.
Please join our Fertility Care family. Come and join the Fertility Care family.
Fertility Care family.
La familia Fertility Care.
The Fertility Care family.
Fertility Care family.
La familia de Fertility Care.
Fertility Care family.
Fertility Care family.
The Fertility Care family.
Please join our Fertility Care family.
Okay, in the absence of no question, for those that might be, okay, I think I can see one question now. Okay, somebody is asking a question. Said, according to you, if a man thinks the wife is infertile and decided to live with the drugs, just work on the woman. Okay, I don't understand the question, but with the, okay, let me just say what I can understand. If the person can reframe it, if I don't get your question, is if a woman is infertile, and then the man thinks that the woman is infertile, will the drug only work for the woman? That is the medication, the supplement, will it work for the woman? If that is your question, yes. In such situations, we take both as a couple. We take them as a couple. We treat them as a couple. So it is not an issue of the man is infertile, the woman is infertile. Yes, we concentrate on whoever has a challenge, but it's a couple thing. So the woman takes the medication. If there is any that will be recommended for the man, yes, it will be recommended. It will be recommended for the man also, but we concentrate more. Or as a matter of fact, we concentrate more on the women because it is women that have a cycle. A man does not have a cycle. So a man's fertility is intact, except if the man is having low sperm count or blocked tube or prostrate or something. But a woman has a cycle. So a cycle is limited to a few number of days. So as a result of that, we want to maximize that number of days. So more attentions are given to the women, but that does not remove the fact that the two of them are what? taken into consideration. Okay, I can see another person said no question from my end. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, thank you for those that have asked the questions. Yeah. So for those that might want to enroll with us for this section, for 8 sections of Zoom, the fee is $250. Yeah. So, but for those that have attended this Zoom, or by virtue of listening to this Zoom and then contact us and give us a proof of having attended this Zoom, they will be given a discount, which will be ending by 14th of February. And that person will be paying a fee of $100. This $100 contains the 8 sections and then your charting material. Your charting materials are the chart we use. We don't use app for our charting. We use physical, what we can see. So you have a charting paper, and you have stamps and sticker, and we also give you a book, a recommended book for you to read to guide you through this process. So you can pay the fee to this account, and that is on the Zoom link. Thank you. And once you do that, just send a WhatsApp to us confirming your payment and then your address where your materials will be shipped to. Thank you. So that's the end of our presentation for today. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate your attendance. And for those that might be watching later on, we appreciate your attendance too. Thank you so much. God bless you. Okay, I can see another question. Okay, someone is asking, what can you recommend for men to boost immune system? Yeah, we have variety of recommendation for men. I think for those that will be asking, the time will not permit us to begin to discuss the supplements here, but we have varieties of supplements. We have what we call the Leo Power, and we also have the Superior Men. Those are the 2 supplements we have. And then we have organic antibiotics, which is highly recommended, whether you have an infection or not. It's highly recommended for every couple to use. We call it detoxification. So it clears your system from any junk that it may be, whether infection or non-infection. So that also is cordyceps militaris. Now, for those that are not ovulating well, we have what we call the berry oil. It consists of omega-3, 5, and 7, and other minerals, so which can be used. But if you contact me via my WhatsApp, which is 090, if you are chatting outside Nigeria, you just put +234. That's Nigerian code. So if you are chatting me from outside Nigeria, you need to put that code. But if you are within Nigeria, it's 090-6868-2227. Outside Nigeria, it will be +234 90-6868-2227. Okay, I hope I've been able to answer all the questions. Or do we have anybody on the panelist? I have 2 other persons with me on the panelist. They are my colleague, Sister Chinyere, just like she has introduced herself. She's a matron at Medical Missionaries of Mary. And then we have Mrs. Palmer, Amari Palmer, if she's still online. So they are my colleagues. I don't know, maybe they have 1 or 2 inputs to put before we round up for the day. Mr. Chinyere, Mrs. Palmer. Any input? Okay, I think Mrs. Palmer is offline. Sister Chinyere, any input? Okay, no input. In the absence of no input and no further questions, we can call it a day. I can see Mrs. Dennis. Thank you for coming. Thank you for attending. I can see Mr. Issa. Thank you also for attending. Thank you all. And God bless you and have a good day. Sister, I was asking if you have an input. I'm sure you stepped out to go and take something, so that's fine. It's okay. Let me stop the recording. Yeah, so that we can talk. Okay, so let me stop the live also.